All right, let's dive into it, another deep dive. Today, we're going to be taking a look at NIO.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, you know, the Chinese EV maker, they've been kind of shaking things up in the industry.
Yeah, for sure, for sure.
Our main source for this one is an analysis by Sheila Wang.
Hmm.
She's a senior investment analyst, and she knows the Chinese equity market like the back of her hand.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, she's got an impressive track record, like analyzed over 800 companies,
Really?
including a lot in the EV space. And her big question is, can NIO finally overcome their history of losses
Hmm.
and turn a profit?
I mean,
Yeah, we're going to break it all down today.
it's a tough question.
Yeah, and trust me, there are some pretty fascinating insights here.
How about?
Yeah, I think you might be surprised.
Okay, well, I'm excited to hear this.
Yeah.
What is it that makes Sheila's analysis so interesting?
Well, what I found really interesting is that she doesn't sugarcoat anything.
Oh, okay.
Like, she just lays out NIO's financial situation, no holds barred, and the numbers are kind of eye-opening.
I bet.
Yeah, she starts by pointing out that they're burning through cash.
Mm.
Like a lot of cash.
How much are we talking?
About 5 billion yuan every single quarter.
Whoa, okay.
That's 15 billion yuan lost
Wow.
in just the first 3 quarters of 2024.
That's significant.
It is.
Yeah.
It's a lot, and it really makes you wonder
Yeah.
how long they can keep this up.
Yeah. How long can they keep spending at this rate?
Well, Sheila has this term, countdown logic.
Okay.
It's kind of scary, actually.
Oh, no.
It basically means that if they keep going at this rate,
Yeah.
their net assets will hit 0 by mid-2025.
Whoa. Okay. So what does that mean for NIO? Like, if their net assets actually hit 0, does that mean like game over?
Well, it's not that straightforward.
Okay.
Net assets hitting 0 doesn't automatically mean bankruptcy.
Okay.
Think of it this way. Imagine you have a house worth
Yeah.
$1 million,
Yeah.
but you also have a mortgage for $1 million.
Yeah.
So technically, your net worth is 0,
Mm-hmm.
but you still have the house, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Same with companies.
Oh.
NIO still has valuable assets
Yeah.
like their factories, their technology,
Wow.
brand recognition.
Yeah.
So they wouldn't just disappear overnight.
I see. So they wouldn't just vanish?
No, but
Right.
hitting 0 net assets is a big red flag for investors,
Hmm.
and it could make it much harder to get the funding they need to
Yeah.
keep going.
Makes sense.
So they have some breathing room,
Okay.
but not a ton.
Yeah.
Didn't they just get those big investments, though? Like, shouldn't that help?
Right.
Yeah, they did get a 3.3 billion yuan injection
Okay.
from state-owned investors,
Mhm.
but that won't even cover 1/4 of their current losses.
So even with the government support,
Mm-hmm.
they're still in a tricky spot.
Yeah, and that's where Sheila's analysis gets really interesting.
Okay.
She doesn't just point out the problem,
Uh-huh.
she actually explores different scenarios to figure out, like, what are NIO's chances of survival?
Interesting.
Yeah.
So let's talk about those scenarios.
Okay.
Yeah. What's the first one?
Okay, so in the first scenario,
Mhm.
she imagines that NIO doubles their sales.
Okay. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds impressive, right?
Yeah.
But even with that kind of growth,
Mm-hmm.
her calculations show they'd still be losing about 1 billion yuan per quarter.
So doubling sales isn't even enough.
Not to break even, no.
Wow. That really shows just how big of a challenge this is
Yeah, it does.
for them.
Yeah.
Okay. What about the second scenario?
Okay, this one focuses on their new model,
Okay.
the ONVO.
Mm-hmm.
This one's getting a lot of attention.
Yeah.
So she makes some optimistic assumptions.
Okay.
Let's say they sell 20,000 units a month
Okay.
at an average price of 250,000 yuan.
Wow. This
Yeah, I mean, that would be a huge boost to their revenue. But even
Right.
with those crazy ONVO sales,
Yeah.
she still projects losses.
Oh, okay.
About 1.3 billion each quarter.
So even if this new car is a massive hit,
Mm-hmm.
they're still not out of the woods.
Not at all. And remember, increased sales also usually mean increased costs.
Oh, right. Of course, yeah.
Like marketing production.
Right. So it's not just a simple equation.
No, it's definitely not. And I
Yeah.
think it's important to remember
Yeah.
these are just 2 scenarios.
Right.
Reality could be even tougher.
Yeah. You think so?
Well, there are a few things that are a little worrying.
Like,
Okay, so remember how NIO hit a record high for deliveries in Q3?
mm-hmm.
Like something like 61,000 vehicles?
Yeah.
Well, their weekly delivery numbers have kind of tanked since then.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they're now delivering like 3,000 or 4,000 vehicles a week.
Wow, that's a big drop.
Yeah, way less than their Q3 peak.
Okay, so I'm starting to get the picture here.
Yeah.
They're losing a ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
Even the best case scenarios are still not great. And they're not even selling as many cars as they were just a few months ago.
Exactly. So what's the plan? Like,
Yeah.
how do they get out of this mess?
Yeah, what's the roadmap?
Okay, so Sheila identifies two key things
Okay.
that NIO absolutely needs to do to survive.
All right, let's hear it.
First, the ONVO needs to be a home run.
Okay.
It needs to sell at least 20,000 units a month.
Yeah, which, like we just discussed,
Yeah.
is a tall order.
It is.
Yeah.
Okay, and second,
Okay, what's number 2?
they need a cash infusion, like
Okay.
a big one.
How big?
Sheila estimates they need about 15 billion yuan
Oh, wow.
to keep them going.
And where's that money going to come from?
That's the million-dollar question.
Literally.
Yeah. And actually, Sheila doesn't really dive into that specifically. I mean, we know they got some state backing,
Yeah.
but they'll need more than that
For sure.
to hit this target.
Right.
Yeah.
So this is where it gets interesting.
It does.
Yeah. What are their options? Are there certain types of investors that would be into a company like NIO?
Yeah, even with all the struggles.
Yeah, even with the, the baggage.
Right. And how do those different funding options play into their whole strategy?
Right.
It's complicated.
Yeah, absolutely.
But before we get too far ahead of ourselves,
Okay.
let's talk about their spending habits.
Okay.
Sheila pointed out that they're spending way more on R&D than their competitors. I want to understand what's driving that and if it's actually sustainable,
Yeah, that's a good point.
given their money problems.
Right. Let's unpack that.
Yeah, right. Let's do it.
Yeah. So NIO's R&D spending, that's something that really jumps out from Sheila's report.
Yeah, it's a lot.
In Q3 2024 alone, it was 3.32 billion yuan.
Wow.
A big jump from previous quarters.
Yeah, and a lot higher than what their competitors are spending.
Right, like Li Auto, XPeng.
Yeah, it's a bold move, especially now with their finances being so shaky.
Yeah.
Makes you wonder what they're putting all that money into.
Well, a big chunk of it is going to new product development,
Makes sense.
especially with all the new models they have planned for 2025.
Right.
But they're also investing heavily in their infrastructure,
Like what?
expanding their network of stores and their battery swapping stations.
Right. So they're banking on innovation, convenience
Yeah.
to set themselves apart. It's a risky strategy.
For sure.
High risk, high reward.
Yeah, I mean, they are burning through cash.
Yeah, exactly.
But they're operating in a market that's changing so fast.
Right.
Standing still is not an option.
Sure.
They have to innovate to survive,
Right.
and that takes money.
Yeah, it's like they're trying to outrun their losses by investing in the future.
Yeah, exactly. But it's not all doom and gloom.
Okay, good.
There are some things working in their favor.
Okay, tell me about the silver linings.
Well, that investment from the state-owned entities,
Mm-hmm.
while it's not enough to solve all their problems right now, it does show that the Chinese government sees potential in NIO.
Okay.
And they might be willing to provide more support down the line.
So a potential safety net.
Exactly.
Interesting.
And don't forget about that big investment from the Middle East last December.
Oh, right, the $2.2 billion.
Yeah, that's a big vote of confidence.
Yeah.
From a major international player.
Shows that people believe in their business model.
Yeah, especially the battery swapping technology.
Right. That's something that really sets them apart.
For sure.
Could be a game changer.
Yeah, if they can make it work on a larger scale.
Right. But even with all that,
Mm-hmm.
can they really compete in the Chinese EV market?
It's tough out there.
It is. It's getting super competitive.
Yeah, and price is becoming a major factor.
Yeah.
You see companies like BYD, Li Auto, XPeng.
Right.
They're all coming out with more affordable models.
So how's NIO responding to that? Are they going to get into a price war?
Well, they're actually adapting. Sheila calls it their going downward strategy.
Okay, interesting. What does that mean?
Basically, they're going after a wider market.
Okay.
They already launched the Lido, which is a more affordable model, and they're going to unveil a new brand, Firefly, at NIO Day 2024.
Firefly, tell me more about that.
It's aimed at budget-conscious consumers,
Okay.
a growing segment in China.
Right.
Their first car is going to be a compact car,
Uh-huh.
priced around 100,000 yuan.
So much cheaper than their other models.
Yeah, significantly cheaper.
Interesting. So are they going to have separate stores for Firefly?
Actually, Li Bin, NIO's CEO, has hinted that they'll share sales channels with NIO.
Oh, that's smart.
It'll allow them to roll out Firefly faster and cheaper.
Yeah, makes sense.
It's like launching a new brand
Yeah.
on an already established platform.
Exactly. So they're not giving up on the premium market,
Not at all.
but they're adding a more affordable option with Firefly.
Yeah, kind of a two-pronged approach.
Interesting. So 2025 is going to be a big year for them.
Huge.
They've got the Lido L60, the Firefly launch.
Yeah.
And they're also planning to release a flagship 6 or 7-seat SUV.
Wow.
And a larger 5-seat SUV.
They're going all in.
Can they really handle all of that?
It's a lot.
While also trying to stop the bleeding financially.
Yeah, Sheila points out that a lot depends on whether they can avoid production delays
Right.
and hit their sales targets for each model.
What are they aiming for?
They're hoping to sell between 5,000 and 10,000 units per month of each new vehicle.
On top of their existing sales.
Yeah, it's ambitious.
It is. So 2025, that's their make or break year.
Seems like it.
If everything goes according to plan, they might finally become profitable.
That's the hope.
It's a high-stakes gamble.
Absolutely.
But with all this talk about the future,
Yeah.
it's easy to forget about the problems they have right now.
True.
They're still losing money, their delivery numbers are down,
Right.
and they need a ton of cash just to keep the lights on.
Yeah, let's bring it back to the present
Okay.
and talk about their cash situation.
All right, let's do it. Okay, so NIO's cash situation, right? They've got about 40 billion yuan in reserve.
Right, which sounds like a lot.
It does, but they're burning through it pretty quickly.
Yeah, about 5 billion a quarter.
So that 40 billion,
Yeah.
it'll only last them about 2 years.
If they keep spending at this rate.
Exactly, and that's assuming they don't get any more funding.
Which is a big if.
Huge if.
Yeah, they need to convince investors
Uh-huh.
that this whole going downward strategy.
Yeah, with the Lido and Firefly.
Right, and all the R&D spending.
Is actually going to work.
It's a gamble.
It is. It's like they're walking a tightrope,
Mm.
trying to appeal to everyone.
Right, the budget buyers with the cheaper cars.
But also keeping that premium image.
And still innovating.
It's a lot to juggle.
It is. And investors are going to be watching closely,
For sure.
looking for any sign that they're slipping.
Their deliveries, their profit margins, everything.
Everything
So what does Sheila think?
about NIO's future.
Yeah, does she think they can pull it off?
I'd say she's cautiously optimistic.
Okay.
I mean, she knows how tough it is.
Yeah.
But she also sees the potential,
Mm-hmm.
the investments they've secured.
Right, from both the government and internationally.
It shows that people believe in their vision.
It's funny, cautious optimism seems to be the theme when we talk about NIO.
It does, doesn't it?
So much potential,
Yeah,
but so much uncertainty, too.
absolutely. They're pushing the boundaries.
In the EV space.
Yeah, but they're doing it on shaky ground.
Yeah, if they don't execute perfectly.
They could fall.
It's been a wild ride just learning about it.
It has.
Sheila's analysis was really eye-opening.
It was. She really laid out the challenges
And the opportunities.
for NIOs.
Yeah, so for our listener, trying to make sense of it all,
What's the bottom line?
I think the bottom line is NIO's future is a big question mark.
Yeah, they could become huge,
Global EV leader.
but they could also crash and burn.
What they do next is going to be crucial.
Absolutely. Those next steps, the funding, the new models.
It's all going to determine their fate.
Yeah.
It's a story that's not finished yet.
It's unfolding as we speak.
And if you're interested in EVs or the Chinese market or just stories about companies taking big risks,
Yeah.
this is one to follow.
Keep exploring.
Yeah. And make up your own mind about what you think will happen.
Remember, investment analysis. It's about understanding the whole picture.
Not just making predictions.
Exactly.
Well, this has been a fascinating deep dive.
It has.
Thanks for joining us.
Of course. Always a pleasure.
And until next time,
Yeah.
keep exploring, keep learning.
Keep diving deep.